Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanchadi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanchadi Hari Jayam Swa Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pavajakacharya Asatar Satasi Srimad Abhay Charnavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Swa Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pavajakacharya Asatar Satasi Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Matakoti Vaishnavana Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Bangame Ki Jai, Yamuna Me Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Sri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 18, Parikshit Cursed by a Brahmin Boy, text number 47. Apapeshu Swa Pratyeshu Balena Apakva Buddhina Papam Kritam Tad Bhagavan Sarvatma Shantum Arhati Papeshu Swapratyeshu Palena Pakva Buddhina Papam Kritam Tad Bhagavan Sarvatma Shantam Harati Papeshu Swapratyeshu Balina Pakva Buddhina Papam Kritam Tad Bhagavan Sarvatma Shantam Harati Papeshu Swapratyeshu Balena Pakva Buddhina Papam Kritam Tad Bhagavan Sarvatma Shantam Harati. Maharaj.
Jeshu. Balena Pakvabudhina Papam Kritam Tad Bhagavan Savadmaksham Tumarhati.
Apapeshu svabriteshu Alena pakvabudina pakvabudina Apam kritang tad bhagavan Sarvatma kshantum arhati Apapeshu svabrityeshu Balena pakvabudina Papam kritam tad bhagavan Sarvatma kshantum arhati Apapeshu svabrityeshu Balena pakvabudina Papam kritam tad bhagavan Sarva atma shantum arhati
Apapeshu svabrityeshu Balena pakvabudina Papam kritam tad bhagavan Sarvatma kshantum arhati
Apapeshu svabrityeshu Balena pakvabudina Papam kritam tad bhagavan Sarvatma kshantam arati
Apapeshu Svabrityeshu Balena Pakvabudhina Papam Kritam Tat Bhagavan Sarvatma Kshantam Arhati.
Apapeshu svabriteshu Balena pakvabudhina Papam kritam tadbhagavan Sarvahatma shantumarhati
Apapeshu svabriteshu Balena pakvabudhina Papam kritam tad bhagavan Sarvatma shantumarhati
Apapeshu, unto one who is completely free from all sins. Sapratyeshu, unto one who is subordinate and deserves to be protected. Balena, by a child. Apakva, who is immature. Buddhina, by intelligence. Papam, sinful act. Kritam, has been done. Tad Bhagavan, therefore the personality of Godhead. Sarvatma, who is all-pervading. Shantum, just to pardon. Arhati, deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Then the Rishi prayed to the all-pervading personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected. Purport. Everyone is responsible for his own action, either pious or sinful. Rishi Shamika could foresee that his son had committed a great sin by cursing Maharaj Pariksit, who deserved to be protected by the Brahmins, for he was a pious ruler and completely free from all sins because of his being a first-class devotee of the Lord. When an offense is done unto the devotee of the Lord, it is very difficult to overcome the reaction. The Brahmins, being at the head of the social orders, are meant to give protection to their subordinates and not to curse them. There are occasions when the Brahmin may furiously curse their subordinate Kshatriya or Vaishya, etc. But in the case of Maharaj Pariksit, there are no grounds, as already explained. The foolish boy had done it out of sheer vanity and being a Brahmin's son, and thus he became liable to be punished by the law of God. The Lord never forgives a person who condemns his pure devotee. Therefore, by cursing a king, the foolish Shringi had committed not only a sin, but also the greatest offense. Therefore, the Rishi could foresee that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead could save his boy from his sinful act. He therefore directly prayed for pardon from the Supreme Lord, who alone can undo a thing which is impossible to change. The appeal was made in the name of a foolish boy who had developed no intelligence at all. A question may be raised herein that since it was the desire of the Lord that Pariksit Maharaj be put into that awkward position so that he might be delivered from material existence, then why was a Brahmin son made responsible for this offensive act? The answer is that the offensive act was performed by a child only so that he could be excused very easily, and thus the prayer of the father was accepted. But if the question is raised, why the Brahmin community as a whole was made responsible for allowing Kali into the world affairs, the answer is given in the Vraha Purana that the demons who acted inimically toward this personality of Godhead, but were not killed by the Lord, were allowed to take birth in the families of Brahmins to take advantage of the age of Kali. The all-merciful Lord gave them a chance to have their births in the families of pious Brahmins so that they could progress towards salvation. But the demons, instead of utilizing the good opportunity, misused the Brahminical culture due to being puffed up by vanity and becoming Brahmins. The typical example is the son of Shamika Rishi, and all the foolish sons of Brahmins are warned hereby not to become as foolish as Shringi and be always on guard against the demoniac qualities which they had in their previous births. The foolish boy was, of course, excused by the Lord, but others who may not have a father like Shamika Rishi will be put into great difficulty if they misuse the advantages obtained by birth in the Brahmin family. In the Bhagavad Gita, 3 kinds of activities are described. There is karma, vikarma, and akarma. So this activity of Shringi, this foolish son of a Brahmin, was vikarma. It was sinful activity. There are various kinds of offenses, but the most dangerous offense is the Vaishnav aparad. The Lord never excuses Vaishnav aparad. And even more dangerous than Vaishnav aparad is Guru aparad. When one commits Guru aparad, his devotional service is finished. So every devotee must be very careful to guard against all kinds of aparads. Therefore, every morning we offer obeisances. Vanchakalpa tribhyas cha, kripa sindhu bhyeva cha, paditanam pavnebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. By offering obeisances, this is the procedure for becoming relieved of Vaishnava aparad. Because in our daily activities, in our social intercourse, there's a chance of committing aparads every day. So we have to be very careful in our dealings with everyone, especially with devotees of the Lord. And we learn from Lord Chaitanya, Trinadapi Sindhi Shaina, Torapi Seshina, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya, Sadahari. One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, being more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. And one should be humbler than the grass or the straw on the street. Everybody steps on the grass, but the grass never protests. And people cut down trees. Sometimes they cut off branches, but the tree never cries or never protests. The tree is very tolerant. So every Vaishnava must cultivate this tolerance and humility. And vanity is condemned by every scripture. The Bible also says that pride goeth before a fall. So one should not be proud because we have this material body. That means because I have this material body, it's proof that I'm a rascal. I'm envious of Krishna. Otherwise, we would not be in this material world. So those of us who have material bodies, we have nothing to be proud of. And but nowadays, this pride is cultivated in modern psychology. They falsely say that one has to develop a sense of self-esteem. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Someone else says, say it loud, I'm white and I'm proud. The homosexuals say, I'm proud to be homosexual or gay. This is all foolishness. This is due to false ego, and due to this pride, there's so much conflict in the world. And Krishna does not like his devotees to be proud. Sometimes if a devotee becomes proud, Krishna disappears from that devotee. Just like we saw in the Rasa dance. So, although Maharaj Parikshit was cursed for an insignificant offense, actually it was no offense on his part because he's sinless. This is pastime enacted by the will of the Lord. Still, Maharaj Parikshit took it as the mercy of the Lord. The Vaishnava thinks, whatever happens to me, what misfortune happens to me, I deserve much worse due to my past sinful activities. So if one always lives his life in this way, then he's eligible for entering the kingdom of God. And one should always expect, sooner or later, the causeless mercy of the Lord. And Sri, he was excused because he's only a boy. But this human form of life is meant for responsibility. the other species of life, the animals and plants, that they have no sin because they're acting out their karma. But the human form of life is the junction. We could either go up or down or stay in this miserable world. So the intelligent person should strive to go back home, back to Godhead, where the atmosphere is saturated with divine love, and there's no more birth, death, disease, or old age. Donovan Maharaj, could you enlighten us some more?
Hare Krishna. The word apapeshu means completely freed from all sins. That's referring to Maharaj Parikshit. And Svabritjeshu means unto one who is subordinate and deserves to be protected. That's also describing Maharaj Parikshit. Balina apakva. Apakva means not ripe. Pakva means ripe. So apakva means immature, unripe. In other words, this boy, Balina, by a child. When one is not of suitable age, he's not held responsible for sinful acts. Even in society today, if a child shoots someone with a gun, which happens, I'm sure, and they die, and the child is not punished like an adult because he's ignorant. He doesn't understand that if he pulls that trigger, then someone will be killed. He doesn't understand that. So it's the duty of the parents and the elders to make sure that dangerous things like weapons and knives and fire are not in the reach of immature children, because they don't know how to use them properly. Also, it's the duty of the guardians of the parents to teach them properly that if they do use such things, like we can understand that Shringi must have seen or gotten the idea that if you touch water, hold your thread like this, and then you say some words, that some kind of curse is done. He got the idea from somewhere. But therefore, it's somewhat due, the father is taking responsibility too. He feels very bad that he didn't prevent his child from doing that. Also, another example is Dronacharya taught his son, Ashwatthama, how to launch the Brahmastra weapon, but the son didn't know how to retract it. So, therefore, it was a very dangerous situation when he tried to use his Brahmastra against Maharaj Parikshit. Or against the Pandavas. So Arjuna had to retract both weapons because he knew. So we have a situation now in the world where weapons are in the hands of persons who are not mature in handling them. And therefore it's a very dangerous situation. So it's the duty of the the intelligent, mature persons not to put such weapons in the hands. This is an interesting point Prabhupada makes about from the Varaha Purana. The answer is, the question was, the first question was answered, why was a immature boy chosen or selected if it was the Lord's desire? So that's being accepted that it was the Lord's desire that Maharaj Parikshit be put in an awkward situation so that he would reach the ultimate perfection. Not only he, but all those who would read Srimad Bhagavatam and hear about it. But then the next question, why then is it said that the Brahmins as a community are held responsible? And the answer is given from the Varaha Purana, that demons who acted inimically toward the personality of Godhead, but were not killed by the Lord. That means there's many of the demons that weren't killed. Krishna didn't kill all the demons. He killed the big ones, the Kangsas and the Bakas and the Agasuras. And he got a lot of the demons killed who were on the side of the Kauravas. Many of them were formerly great big demons. So many of them were killed. But there were many others who were not killed, but they were still of demoniac mentality, who acted inimically toward the personality of God. So they were allowed to take birth in the families of Brahmanas to take advantage of the age of Kali. That means in the age of Kali, Brahman's family, to be proud of one's Brahman family may not be so applicable because there may be these demons. These demons may be taking shelter of Brahminical families to create havoc in the age of Kali. That's what's being said here. I've heard Prabhupada say that before, and I was wondering where he got that from. And I had read this, but I didn't remember it. He would say sometimes, we shouldn't be proud of being born in a Brahmin family in Kali Yuga because it says they'll be from these demons, this group from the demons. That may not apply to all, but at least some. So, that's a nice answer. Children can be excused for their sinful acts. Another example was when a yogi, a Brahmin yogi, was punished. He was innocent, but he was punished as if he were a criminal because some criminals took shelter of his hermitage while he was in trance. And when the constables caught the wrongdoers for the sins they had committed, the yogi was taken along with him. And he was about to be, well, I guess he was actually, they stabbed him with that was the punishment, some kind of spear. So he didn't die. Most people would have died from that, but he was a yogi. So when the king found out that they had punished someone with a spear and he was a yogi, he went there and paid obeisance and begged for forgiveness from the yogi. And so the yogi then, he wanted to find out from Yamaraj why he was punished like this. He didn't remember any sins that he had performed in his life. So Yamaraj, the yogi was so powerful he could approach Yamaraj. And he approached him, and Yamaraj said, when you were a child, you pierced an insect with some straw. This is the reaction. Said, for a child? How could a child be given such a horrible reaction for a deed they use? So he cursed Yamaraj, wasn't it? To become Vidura. Takes birth as a shooter 125 years. He says that was a very wrong thing you did. So he cursed him. And he became, and that was another arrangement by the Lord so that Vidura could be there and give such wonderful deliberation on everything. It was Vidura who was opposed to the Asat Sabha, the unjust insulting of Draupadi. He was against, he spoke up. He was always trying to educate he always tried to give good advice to his brother, his older brother, Dhritarashtra. He always tried to instruct Duryodhana and although he was among those who would have preferred that Duryodhana not be sent away and not be allowed to become the king. He was certainly of that favor, but that wasn't to happen because Dhritarashtra was too attached. But so the thing to learn is that then it was established that a certain age, I don't remember what the age was, but a person shouldn't be held responsible for sins committed under that age. In America, what's the age for 18 or 21 for murder? 18, you're considered an adult. And then you're responsible for everything you do. So by 18, the parents and the teachers and the leaders have to have trained, educated everyone who's 18 so they know what the laws are and what they should and they shouldn't do. But if the leaders don't know themselves, then there's a problem. Innocent personalities would be children, for example, in the womb. They're innocent. Innocent in one sense, innocent that they haven't committed any sins in this life. Haven't done anything wrong yet. So they don't deserve to be killed for that reason. Now, then the difficult question comes up, well, if they did something impious in the past, that they're supposed to be killed in the womb, that must be their karma. So if their karma is that they should be killed, then what's the harm? Why is the person or the persons who are involved in the conspiracy to kill the children in the womb, why are they held responsible? They can just say, it was his karma. But that doesn't work either, because even though it may be that soul's karma, if a person becomes the responsible for that sinful act, he's given karma for that act. He can't just say, I was impelled by karma, therefore I'm innocent. That was Duryodhana's philosophy. I know because in the Garga Samhita we were just dealing with that verse. There was a verse where Duryodhana offered respects to Lord Krishna. And it was heartfelt respect, but he said, I know religious principles, but I just don't follow them. And he said, but please don't, I'm not to blame because the Lord is doing it. He's in charge of everything. So he's responsible for making me do what I do. That's not an acceptable philosophy. It's not what happens. God specifically makes it understood that he is not responsible for the activities of the living entities. They are responsible themselves. They have free will for that reason. And it's the duty of parents, kings, teachers, etc., Brahmins, to educate them so they know what is right, what is wrong, Shastras. So one can't say what I did was destined by that person's karma, or my karma. Can't say it was my karma. Shouldn't punish me. My karma, I just had to do it. No judge will accept that.
Thank you, Dhanavar Maharaj. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 4, Lord Krishna says that he's the creator of various qualities. One of the qualities is buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence. And this immature boy, it says in the translation, he had no intelligence. And Prabhupada defines intelligence as the power of analyzing things in proper perspective. So this Shringi failed to analyze Maharaj Parikshit's action in proper perspective, even though it might have been a little offense, but still he awarded a severe punishment for a little offense. This is indication of a lack of intelligence. Here it says no intelligence. But since he was a boy, he was excused by the Lord because boys are generally foolish. Any comments or questions? It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
I will have those Sankirtan sweets.
So we'll read the scores for the week of December 12th. So this week we had...
To the deities, to the curtains open usually?
Usually.
Is it possible that the curtains could be open? Right.
Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. So this week we'll read the scores
For the
pleasure of the assembled devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Tulsi Maharani, the Sampradaya Acharyas, and Shri Shri Gauranitai.
First and foremost.
Jai. And we had 9 book distributors.
Haribo.
So for this week sorry, I'm not sure what is up with this microphone. And this week for the ninth position, we had with 12 small books, 1 medium book, and 1 Maha big book for 5.5 book points, Bhakta Fred Prabhu. Hello. And tied for the 8th and 7th position, the first one with 2 small books and 3 Maha big books for a total of 6.5 book points. And the second one with 4 small books, 1 medium book and 3 big books, and 1 Maha big book for 6.5 book points. Jai Keshava Prabhu and Radhastali Devidasi.
Second one.
And Radhastali Devidasi.
Here, bring them over here. Here.
So for 6
Right now, they
position,
should come up.
everyone should come
Take
up.
their